Hello, and welcome once again back to Barljo's basement. Quick line before we start. What have I learnt this week? Well, I've learnt two things. I have learnt, first of all, you should always test your microphone level before you start recording. Otherwise, you can't hear a word you're saying when you come to listen. So this is take two. Also, that helped me learn back up your data. That's all. Anyhow, I am so far super stoked this week. I had a feeling we should probably install the Seasons mod, just so that it's not a lovely endless summer in our Let's Play of Goldcrest Valley here on the PlayStation 4, and so let's do it. It's under the mods menu. You can download all sorts of mods from the store, all sorted into categories. You can get extra harvesters. These are all community created mods that are tested out by giants who make the software, of course, and they upload them here. You can download them. Some are free. Most of them actually are free community stuff. Some of them are paid, but mostly free. And to load it up, you start your save game, and here they are. This is a list of the mods you have installed, all the DLC. Now, I have, whilst I've usually played a very vanilla game indeed, I have an awful lot of extra tractors, mainly due to the fact I got the Platinum expansion as it was on sale when I bought this. So I'm going to select most of them. In fact, I'm just going to have that Platinum expansion just because you can load these in at any point of your save game. Next time you save it, you pop them in. So most of those are tractors, the Kuhn, Big Bod and Roper tractors. I think there's a couple of additional tools in there that you'd use, and here is Seasons in my list, so there we go. Because Goldcrest Valley is based in the nice sunny Midwest of the US, I've also got a region-specific script to go into Seasons there. Otherwise, Seasons is based on the weather in somewhere in the central of England, which, whilst is, I'm sure, lovely, doesn't really match the terrain. So there we go. I also found a nice little trailer, flatbed trailer that I like, so I'm going to grab that. That Lely Juno is a lovely piece of kit, but we'll load that in later. When you've selected the mods you want to load in, we start, and it loads your game as normal. It just overwrites all of the save. It writes those mods into the game you're actually playing. How interesting. So, while this is loading, which is something you don't normally see, I'll fill you in with what I did off-camera. You'll remember we had a field of canola that was growing, so I let that grow through to harvest, harvested it, and put it in our silo. I also went and picked our trailers up from the store, where I'd left them at the end of the last episode, because I was feeling lazy, and I ploughed one of the fields while I was waiting for the canola to grow. So, there we go. We're ready to officially dive in when that little message at the bottom doesn't say being loaded, and it says start instead. There you go. Start, and here we are. So, the first time you load up Seasons, it gives you this warning. You loaded Seasons on an old save game, and Seasons wants to reset all fields to their bare state to synchronise with the game day. That is why I let the canola grow and harvest, because you will lose all crops that you're growing at the time. It says if you don't reset growth, Seasons might not work as expected. So, let's give it a reset, dive into the game. It is 7 AM on the 1st of spring. It seems to be quite dark, but isn't that interesting? So, whilst the daylight turns up, there was a couple of changes I was going to do to our settings. I will normally leave that on 15 minutes for our play. Well, let's do that now. Everything else there is normal. What I was going to do is change these helper refills. I'm very happy that they fill up the tractors as they go. I never want to get in a tractor and it's got no fuel in it, so that's fine. However, I do like to manage my own seed, my own fertiliser, our own slurry, and our own manure, because that's how we go. You'll see that the next two options at the top of the right, plant growth and withering, are both greyed out. That is an effect of Seasons. It has a separate menu, so that's that. I don't think there was anything I wanted to change in the general settings. No, there was not. So that's good. Now then, let's have... Oh, I see the sun's coming up already. Can we see a nice sunrise coming over the hill? Not quite yet. So let's have a look through the seasons menu, which gives us some different options. The first page of the seasons help is this, a little calendar. It tells you when you can plant each crop, the temperature you can plant each crop at, which I'll come back to later, and when to harvest it. So some of them have 2 planting seasons, some of them just have, like wheat, barley and canola at the top there. Some of them just have the 1 planting season and then a growth season later on, and some of them just have really long plant and harvest seasons themselves, which is nice. Page 2 gives us the average prices at any point in a season for any of the crops, which is useful. If you've got a load in the silo like we have, you can see when it's likely to be a high point to sell, and you can wait. The canola we've got harvested, well, we've got quite a lot in silos at the moment. The canola we've got isn't at its lowest point, but isn't at its highest. We don't need it yet. Sunflowers, I see it is highest, so I might go and sell some of those, and so on and so forth. And last up is the seasons options. Seasons introductions we will leave on. It's quite handy. We'll leave that as Fahrenheit because I haven't seen that the Celsius conversion works properly. Season lengths, a lot of people play 9 days for each season, just in terms of keeping the playthrough rolling. I'm going to make it 3. In winters it will snow, which is quite interesting. So we'll leave that on because, well, snow. Also it tells you whether you should be compacting the snow under tracks, which is nice. And crop moisture, just another level of realism, if you like, to the world. You can't harvest your crops if they're too wet. So there we go. Our play speed is 15, we can see at the top. The other thing I did in our downtime was quite a bit of work off camera on some other fields, just to build up some cash so we can at least have a bit of fun. It says it's the 1st of early spring, and that little box that's appeared that wasn't there before shows you the season. That little flower means it's spring. And also the air temperature and the soil temperature, which you'll remember the help menu gives us a list of temperatures we can plant at. That relates to the soil temperature. You can plant at any temperature, but it won't germinate and start growing until it hits that temperature point. So there we go. Another nice thing about seasons is the weather forecast, which I'm going to leave up. It says tomorrow, the 2nd of spring, it's probably going to rain. So, and I believe it's fairly consistent with what it is, and we can see how the temperature's going up through the year as well. So there we go. The first thing I think we'll do is set some ploughing off. Oh, that's the other thing. I made everything nice and clean. If you're going to start a nice new year, it's probably worth giving everything a bit of a brush up. So there we go. Some nice clean case tractors and the harvester as well. We'll have a quick look at our map to see where everything is up to. There we go. Well, 12 and fields 12 and 14 need ploughing. There's nothing going on in 15 at all. Oh, that's already been ploughed. How nice. So, what I will do is set a plough going on field 12, I believe. Yes. And then we will do some sowing on 14. So let's get a plough out. I think he was hiding behind that case there. And here we go. My longer term plan for this is to get some crops underway. Hopefully as the year progresses, that will help us. Well, it will. That will build our reserves up a little bit, and then by the time autumn comes round and we finish the initial sorry, I'm losing my words while I'm steering. Our initial flurry of activity, I'm hoping to get some animals lined up, but we'll see how the next couple of Let's Plays go, shall we? Ooh, that's a tree. Let's see what happens when you slip off a trigger. So, here we go. I'm going to get this field ploughed in. That's the remains of our canola. So, that's nice. Get that ploughed in. Make sure we're all nicely lined up. It certainly looks okay to me, even if it's... there we go. So, slow it down, get going. I'm going to put that straight on a worker because whilst I do quite like ploughing, today isn't the time for that. certainly when it's starting off, they get to do it a lot straighter than I do. No comments from those of you who know me in real life in terms of being straighter. In fact, comment if you want, I don't really mind. Okay, the next I said we were going to do was... Let me just review where our fields are up to. So that one's going to be ploughed. There we go. You can see a little strip of colour creeping in on the side. 15 is already ploughed, 14 is already cultivated. Well, isn't that nice? So, what I'm going to start off by planting today, there's our trusty old pressure washer there. What we're going to start off by planting today is what is referred to as a cover crop, which will be, in this particular case, there we go, in this particular case it will be something called oilseed radish, which is, I believe it's a part of the rape family. So there we go. You may or may not remember one of our options is a fertilizer state, which is the more you fertilize your crops, so there's 3 states, it adds a much better yield. Each fertilizer state you put on, if it's the standard 3, it gives you an additional, what do we say, 30% it is, yield, so that's much better. A cover crop helps count as a fertilizer stage. So with this seeder we have, I started while I was doing this, this seeder we have fertilizes while it plants, so that counts as the first stage. That's what I remember. Then the crop itself, when you plough it back in, counts as a second stage fertilizer, which is very interesting indeed. And then when you plant the actual crop, that's your third seed, your third stage, so that's very nice. It's quite nice to cycle that round the fields to help with the periodic ploughing. Do hope I've selected the red crop. What I'm going to do also is stick that on the worker, because I'm intending to keep our missions ticking over, hoping to identify a new field to buy. Just one of the smaller ones that I would probably keep as a grass field, because that would be helpful in... let's do this. There we go, keep that going, thank you. There we go, much better. Just a small one as a grass field, which will help with feeding our animals at such time as we get them. So there we go. We have all those fields ready to go, so that is okay. Let's go and jump on a field. One of the other effects of the Seasons mod is that it resets all your progress with any friendly farmers. So you've got to do all that work again, but that doesn't really matter. It helps us get our money to where it is now. So there we go. Let's set our cruise control down to a sensible speed. As I've hinted before, this isn't Grand Theft Auto. I'm not particularly good at driving at 30 odd, so there we go. So there are some smaller fields up here that I'll concentrate on. We'll have a look at the map when we get there, show you where we are. It's only just north of the farm. You don't want these things too far away from your base farm, otherwise you just spend your life driving. You can teleport in this game, but frankly, that seems to take the fun out of it. So here we go. 9:30. Cars coming that way, but that's okay. There we go. Now, the first field I'm going to look at is field number 8, which is just up here, which is often not too bad. A nice little field just based in there. There we go. Let's pull in there. Okay, and let's see what this gentleman has for us today. Fertilising. Oh, a quick 8-minute job. That should fill up some of our time quite nicely, so we'll go through that. And that's a cheeky £1,100. Why on earth not? Okay, well, this is a Zetor or a Zeta, I don't know. It's always nice to drive other tractors, particularly when you're being paid to do so. There we go. That was well judged today. Well done. Well done, barljo. How very nice indeed. Let's come back, make sure we're covering everything nicely, turn it on, and get going. the farmers. The other thing it does is reduce the payout you get for some of these quite a lot. This would probably have earned us maybe 2.5, 3 before seasons, which is probably a little bit too much for whatever the work you were putting in. There we go, that curve green just about. And the tasks you complete for the farmers in the vanilla game pay you a time bonus. That is not something that seasons will give you. Which, whilst it's a shame, it's probably a little bit more realistic. Some of the time bonuses were a little bit generous. You could do quite a big job. And the times are fairly generous anyway to get them completed. You could be doing quite a big job for a farmer, and he'll pay you 50,000 for a couple of hours' work, and the time bonus would be 40 odd as well. And whilst it's very nice to get your farm up and running, I don't think that's really. I've never had that sort of 90% time bonus for finishing anything early. In real life, I certainly wouldn't expect it as a computer game. Mr. Strip there, let's hope that doesn't impact too much on our finished percentage. Here we go. One of the reasons I want to keep the funds ticking up is so that we can buy a nice fertiliser sprayer. Say we are using that cover crop for some fields. I'm not going to do that every time because it's a time in terms of planting. So there's 3 fertiliser states. You can get a fertiliser sprayer or a slurry spreader like this one if you happen to have a slurry supply, which will then you can use that at each growth stage of your crop. You can't just spray it 3 times and go walk away. You need to let it grow and then do another fertiliser run on top of how you've been. So there we are. Just to restate, everybody, please back up your data. Particularly if you're on a PlayStation, if you have the PlayStation Plus, do make sure you're already paying for the online. So there is an online backup for you. Do use it. My gosh, do use it. Otherwise, you'll lose hours and hours of work. Not that I'd let something like that happen to me. That would be foolish. Certainly for the geek I am. Everybody knows you back up, back up, back up. There we go. It's probably more correct to turn the spreader off while you're turning round, but well, he's paying, so it's free to me. It doesn't impact anything we'll gain from it. There we go. There's a couple of strips I missed in this one. Looks like we might have to cover them on the way back round just to make sure we hit our target of the completion. But it does look like we should finish that field quite squarely anyway. There's nothing more mildly irritating than having to do one little strip at the end like that. We'll see how our little Pac-Man goes. It's filling up nicely. It might just be enough as we come to the end of the field. Or it might not. Either way, as you can see, we're well within time. So, and whilst we've finished this, one of the reasons I was looking at this particular field, I will show you after we've completed the task. Oops, that was not the right button. That's much better there. Thank you very much. Okay, that should certainly have us finish that field off very nicely indeed. There we go. Just over £1,000 for a few minutes' work. We'd all agree not too bad. Right, one of the reasons I'm looking at that field is it's quite a reasonable price. It's 70 grand for nearly a hectare, which isn't too bad. That price will come down as our like bar for Mr. Roberts goes up. Which field did we say it was? Field number 8. That appears to be the only field he owns, but I will go through off camera and check that out. It's a reputation with the farmer themselves. It's not really tied to the field particularly, so there we go. Now, the main reason I was looking at this field is just up here, past that field, and up this little track here, is our little pig farm. I'll have a quick walk through that, and that'll probably close us off for today. Here we go. This is their feed trough, where you drop all the food they would like, and this is their, let's call it a playground rather than a house. They've got shelters, they've got a little shady area there, lots of puddles to whatever pigs do. Is it wallow? Who knows? And this is their little bedroom area over here, and another storage shed. Just over here, on the other side, is their, if I can get there, I need to go this way anyway, back to the car, is their water trough. So, there we go. So yes, a lovely little area for where our pigs will live. And also, there's a cheeky little back way to our farm, just past here, up here, and through a little forested area, which will be quite useful. We'll come back to this forested area as the seasons go on. We'll certainly come back up here. There's a little watchtower up there. Let's go and have a look at that one day. There we go. As winter comes in, there's fewer crops to do, fewer jobs to do around the farm. But you can do some forestry, which I'm sure we'll be doing. And there you go. We're here back at our farm, just to watch that gentleman finish his ploughing. There's nothing happening in that field up there right now. And there is our cover crop being planted in there. When they've done that, we'll probably plant another crop in one of those fields there. Just for now, let's have a look, see if there's one more task. This field 19 is also quite a nice size. When it comes to it, we'll see what we can afford and how friendly we've been with the farmer. So there we go. And here's our little help point here. If it's an okay job, we'll take it, and if not, we'll just finish the video at this point. Here we go. 6-minute job. It's only £900, but that will do. It's more slurry. It's not a great idea to show you the same jobs over and over again, but why not? There we go. £850, 6 minutes. Let's go. Pick up the weight again. It always gives you a front weight, I've noticed in these field missions. Most of the time it doesn't seem to be required for the tractors you've got. Whatever it is they're having to pulling, but there we go. Again, so back up here, make sure we're covering everything we should, and get going. Slowly now, is that not quite catching that first strip where we've started, so just see that the field's only a darker colour, so we'll likely need to come back to the start just to finish it off at the end. So there we go. Bang it on. Just in case anybody happens to be watching live, welcome. This will be properly edited and all of the other stuff later on. It's on my basement channel if you can find that. There's a couple of farming simulators, a couple of Stardew Valleys floating around as well. But for now, it's just a live stream. I'll download and edit later. I may even time-lapse some of this and see how it goes. There we go, let's stop looking the wrong way. Drive if you're heading backwards. Although some of us can. I think I've mentioned before in some of my previous videos on this particular Let's Play, the missions are quite interesting. You get to drive lots of different tractors. What I have noticed on the PlayStation version is that most of the tractors don't seem to carry, this triangle there, most of the tractors, certainly here on the PlayStation, tend not to carry a live dashboard. You can sometimes see the speed ticking over there. Most of the time it's just controlled by your heads-up display in the bottom right. It's the best way to do it. I've seen other people do Let's Plays, particularly Daggerwin, I'll mention him again because he's incredibly prolific. keyboard. Some people view console gaming like the PlayStation as not real gaming, which is fine. Console works for me as a family man. Everybody seems to enjoy it. And I haven't really got the money to invest in a gaming PC as well as a PlayStation for the more casual. Who knows? If I get enough subscribers and enough watches, and I'm able to start living like a king on my YouTube income, which would be lovely, certainly in terms of just getting paid to do what I enjoy. Then I'll probably move on to PC gaming, get some proper capture stuff in, but in the short term, I don't really see that happening. Here we go, coming up to a little completion here. Should give us just that £850. No time bonus, as I say. Now we're working on seasons, which is very nice. So, start up here, get ourselves back home. No need to look in the mirrors, as nobody ever uses this road, which is an awful thing to say. But hey, you certainly can't drive like that in real life. And here we go. So, as I pull into the farm, I think for now I'll say thank you for watching, and I will catch you all soon. See you later. Ta-ta for now.